Thank you, thank you. Well, we got a lot of guitars up here, so I'll be changing guitars a lot tonight. Let me grab another one. We got a lot to cover this evening. One of my proudest accomplishments ever, you'll see, is this guitar rotating thing I came up with. I always wanted to buy one. I could never find one. So I went to Home Depot and bought a bunch of stuff and made it myself. Look at this. All right. Now this guitar here, this is the 12 string. Let me check the tuning. Like one of my friends told me years ago, there's so many opportunities to be out of tune with one of these things. So many opportunities. This thing, I have a few of these at home. I got this years ago thinking it was going to be something. And if you've ever played a 12 string, it's kind of like a cat. Like it does its thing and you just kind of have to go along with it. So I thought I would play one kind of music on 12 string and it never worked out. So I've played other kinds of music. So this is a little bit wild, this song here, okay? With that song, I was tempted to like do some rock star move. I really want to. No, I got to work up to that. Okay. New guitar. And these straps always get twisted. I never have learned like how to undo it. So there we go. So let's see. I'm going to play a song that sounds kind of different. This one has a little trick to it. And I learned this trick from one of my favorite guitarists who wrote about it. And did any of you, when you were kids, did you ever have a magazine subscription? Not that kind of magazine subscription. Well, I had some good ones. I had highlights and highlights. I don't ever remember, were there articles and highlights? I just remember searching for in the picture, searching for the things. That's what I loved about it. I loved highlights for that. And then Ranger Rick. You want to have Ranger Rick? Oh, yeah. Great. Loved it. And I grew up, I'll be talking a lot about my childhood tonight. This is basically a therapy session that you're all going. Sorry, but I do need it. So, I grew up out in the eastern plains of Colorado on a farm near a town called Akron, Colorado. And my grandma lived there and tons of cousins and lots of family was in Colorado. So every holiday, all of the family would converge in that part of the world at my grandma's house. And my family are pretty social people, and they like to talk and visit a lot. And you probably won't believe it, but I'm pretty introverted. And as a kid, I wasn't interested I just was bored to death with all the talking and all the visiting. So I would sit in this rocking chair, and I needed something to do, and there was always a stack of National Geographics on the table by the chair. And so I was always reading these. Not because I was interested in them, but because it gave me something to focus on to do, to keep my brain from turning to mush with all these conversations that I was not a part of. Well, my grandma, being the wonderful woman that she was, always saw me reading those National Geographics, and she started getting me a subscription every year for Christmas. National Geographic, and I never had the heart to tell her that I didn't really like it. I don't think I ever read an article, but I looked at all the pictures. It was great. But eventually I started playing guitar, and I convinced my mom and dad to get me this subscription called Guitar for the Practicing Musician, which was amazing. And every month when this subscription would show up, it was just amazing. It had songs in it, it had stuff in it you could learn. I lived for this magazine. It was incredible. And there was a column written by a guy named Steve Stevens, who was Billy Idol's guitarist, who was an incredible guitarist. And in this column, he taught you how to make cool sounds on the guitar. And that was the whole focus of it. And I've gotten a lot of mileage out of that column I read. So this is a song. He taught me how to make this cool sound. Then make sure it's in tune. Here, that's the first cool sound. Thank you. I'm sorry you had to hear that noise. That wasn't supposed to happen. That wasn't part of the song. Sorry. I need to plan it out better next time so there's not such a long walk between the mic and the guitars, as we have like this uncomfortable dead space. So this is the classical guitar. This is my favorite of all of them. See, I've got three. They're all identical. Those are triplets back there. Whole different sound, very different, very quiet sound. Lyrical, kind of like a piano. I used to live here in Lafayette. I lived here for about 10 years. I love it. It's a great place. I live just down the road in Broomfield now. And this place, I lived in Denver for years, and it was just too much for me. And when I came up here, it really felt like home to me. And I just really loved it. And I've always been in this area now for years. And it's such a thing, finding your home. Like you can't really put it into words, but you know when you're not there. You know if you've been in a place in life when you're not home, and you know of a place where you get where you are home. And I don't know these days what I believe spiritually anymore. I don't really know. But I read a lot, and I'm an armchair philosopher. And I've been reading a lot of Plato recently. Now, I'm not talking about that thing I had when I was a kid, the haircut where you put the thing in and the stuff came out. And it was salty, and you had the little plastic scissors. This is Plato with a T, Plato. And he wrote about Socrates. That was his teacher. And pretty much, I haven't read a ton of it yet, and it's very wordy. It's extremely wordy. But one of the books is this book called Phaedo. And Phaedo was the name of a guy who was one of Socrates' students. And Socrates got sentenced to death for what he said. And Phaedo came to visit him. And in this book, it's just a transcription of their conversation. And Phaedo says, we don't know what to do without you. You're gonna die, and you don't seem concerned about it. And I don't get it, and I don't like it. What's wrong with you? Why aren't you trying to get out of here? Why aren't you trying to bribe your way out of this? Why aren't you? And it's very lengthy, but essentially what Socrates says to him is, well, I feel like my soul is trapped inside my body. And it's been trapped for years in here, and it keeps telling me that it wants to go home. This song is called Home. Thank you. Well, that was kind of heavy, wasn't it? Thank you. I feel like we need to have a little fun after that. I don't usually have fun. But this seems like the kind of group maybe that could have a little fun with me. So I'm not going to get serious here for a minute. We're going to have some fun. You okay? All right, here we go. And in just a few minutes, we'll be back to the serious stuff. But I just feel like after that, we need a little palate cleanser, okay? I lived a good job in the city, working for the man every night and day. And I never lost 1 minute of sleep, worrying about the way things might have been. We keep on turning, primarily keep on burning, and we're rolling on the river. Well, I cleaned a lot of plates in Memphis, bumped a lot of pain in New Orleans. But I never saw the good side of the city till I hitched a ride on the riverboat queen. A big wheel keep on turning, primarily keep on burning, and we're rolling on the river, rolling. You can do backup vocals. I heard you. That's all. And we're rolling. If we got some guys who can do the bass. rolling on the river. And we're rolling. God, you guys are good. Rolling on the river. Now river, here it comes. If you come down to the river, bet you're gonna find some people who live. You don't need to worry if you got no money. People on the river are happy to give. Well, a big beat keep on turning, primarily keep on burning, and we're rolling on the river. We're rolling on the river. A river, Wow. That's great, so we can have fun tonight. Okay. Good, great, good. We'll do more of that in a little bit. Some of you might realize I just put this guitar down and I'm picking it up again. And we could, eventually I need to get like a contest. We just do this and win prizes and stuff. Okay. Oh yeah. We're gonna do something kind of different now. I guess a lot of the stuff has been kind of different, right? Years ago, when I lived in Fort Collins, I got a gig playing every week in an Indian restaurant, Star of India. And I had never had Indian food before, and I was a little scared of it. But part of the gig was you got free food, and I came to love it. And to this day, it's my favorite food. We go out to Indian food all the time. And part of the gig was they were like, well, you probably should play some Indian music here, because all you do is like this other music. And so I took some lessons with a sitar player who played there regularly. And I never really got it, but I sort of figured out how to do it on the guitar a little bit, enough to fake my way through this gig. And it's cool. It's cool. It's a whole different thing. Now, so I'm going to do some techniques here that kind of fake out like I'm playing a sitar, okay? Because I had to do this to survive this gig. Now, what I actually think of when I play this song, though, one of my favorite movies of all time is Conan the Barbarian. It just is, I'm sorry. With Arnold Schwarzenegger. And if you've seen that movie, the villain is Thulsa Doom. And it's played by James Earl Jones. And you probably know that James Earl Jones did the voice of Darth Vader in Star Wars. In Conan, he's the voice and he's there on screen. And he is terrifying. And one of the scenes in this movie is he's in his temple being worshipped by all his worshipers. And as the worship gets higher and higher, he turns into a snake, a huge snake. And the only problem with the scene is the music they play doesn't really fit. It's like really happy. So I wrote this kind of if I wrote the song for Thulsa Doom. So this song is called India, but I think of it as Thulsa Doom's birthday party. Thank you. That was pretty fun. All right, the bad boy. Get this boy going again. Well, since we have this one out, let me do something different and play two songs on the same guitar. I guess I did two songs. That Indian one was on the same guitar. But this song, again, like I said before, and I'll hit you with this all night. I grew up on a farm, and one of the things my dad taught me on the farm was the horses are awesome, they're beautiful, they're great. Do not walk up behind them closely, because they will kick you and they will kill you. And they are evolutionarily programmed to kick when something comes behind them. They are triggered to do this. So all my life, I've always, with horses, I always keep a real good distance behind them. And one day at my grandma's house, I saw this dog. She had this big dog, kind of a Great Dane mix kind of thing. Living on a farm out in the middle of nowhere, dogs show up at your house all the time because people dump their dogs out in the country and they find their way to your house. So growing up, we had 5 or 6 dogs all the time because they would just show up. And this dog was a dog that showed up at my grandma's house. Well, he was a city dog. And one day I saw him walk too close to the back of a horse and he got kicked right in the head. Now, he's a big dog. Didn't kill him, didn't hurt him that bad. He walked a little funny for a while. And I was working on this song at the time. So I needed a title. So I called this song Kicked in the Head by a Horse. that away from the piano, we're going to have a disaster. Okay. All right. Did anybody in here have a dad? Raise your hand if you had a dad. Okay, a few of you. I had one too. And my dad was just an amazing guy, like incredible. Incredible. You ever have like magnets? You know, you ever hold two magnets of the same pole together like that? What do they do when they get close to each other? They push each other away. I think I've never met anyone in my life who was more like me than my dad. And we were two magnets of the same polarity who pushed each other away constantly. But when I was a little kid, it wasn't that way. And he was an amazing musician. He was an amazing guitarist and singer, piano player, everything, all by ear. He just had this natural talent. And when he would get out his guitar, when I was a little kid, it was the most favorite thing in my life was to sit in front of him while he played guitar and sang. And he would give me these private concerts for an audience of one to his biggest fan. As years went on, I started playing guitar too. But when I was a kid, all I wanted to play was heavy metal guitar. Really loud, really bad, constantly in the basement. And he could not relate to it. And I understand. If I heard what I was playing then now, I would say I can't relate to that either. Over the years, we really drifted apart. And, you know, it's kind of like, the way I think of it now, it's like you've got two people on either side of a canyon, and the bridge washes out. And after a while, you can still see each other at each side of the canyon, but there's no way to walk across. And after enough years, you just can't get over there. You can still see them over there, and they can see you, but you just can never be in the same place at the same time. And that's kind of what happened with me and my dad. And years went on, and he got cancer, and he fought it for a long time, and then he couldn't fight it anymore. And his wife called me and said, it's about to completely end. You need to get out here. You need to get here because I don't think he's going to last much longer. So, and she said, and he can't talk anymore. He's going quick. So I went out there, and we couldn't talk, so I brought my guitar. And he was in bed, and I sat on the edge of the bed, and he wasn't talking at that point. And I started playing guitar, and he really loved this stuff that I'm playing tonight. He hated my heavy metal stuff. Even though he and I didn't communicate much, he told me a lot how much he liked my acoustic music. And he told me at one point, he said, you know, whenever I'm having a really hard time, and in my dad's later years, he had a lot of hard times. He became an expert in having a hard time. He said, when I'm having a hard time, I listen to your music and it calms me down. And so I came there and I played guitar on the edge of the bed. And as soon as I started playing, he started speaking again. It was incredible. And I don't think he knew I was in the room, but he said, that's Jeff. That's awesome. I love that music. That's Jeff. That's Jeff. It was powerful. And I played for a while, and then he was gone. I got to get to this part without choking up. So our relationship came full circle, and it ended with me, like he so many times did for me, giving him a private concert for my biggest fan. This is the song I played. Thank you. Okay, I had this experience a few years ago. Has anyone ever heard of an NDE? You know what that is? Near-death experience. Has anyone ever here had a near-death experience where you almost died, where you pretty much thought you were going to die, and you were on your way out, and you were saying this, and somehow it doesn't happen? A lot of times when that happens to a person, when they come back, everything sort of changes. Everything looks different. And when I had this experience, what happened to me when I came back, Has anyone heard of, this is like a quiz here, has anyone heard of the term synchronicity? You know what that means? Unexplained coincidences, things that happen that you can't quite explain. After my situation, I started seeing synchronicity everywhere. And there was this grace period I had of like 4 months where everywhere I looked, and I had never seen anything like this before, and it was everywhere. And it kind of faded, but I still have it. I still see these unexplainable coincidences a lot. I had, the other day, this story's kind of rambling. When I was a kid, I took guitar lessons from a teacher who made me use this book by Tommy Tedesco, Guitar Exercises by Tommy Tedesco. Tommy Tedesco was the guitar player in the Wrecking Crew, which was the LA group of session musicians that played on everything. Every hit from the 60s, you'll hear Tommy Tedesco's guitar on it. And he wrote this book that I used in my lessons. The best part about the book was, I promise the story's coming back around. I promise you, there is an end point to this. In this book, the best part of the book is in between the guitar exercises, he told stories from his career as a guitar player. And they were amazing stories. And he told this one story about how he was in LA and he needed to make some more money, because that's all he did for a living. And one month the money was tight. And so he went on the Gong Show. This serious guitar player. He dressed up in a tutu and went out onto the Gong Show, and it was just ridiculous. But he explained, I needed the money, it paid really well. He won, and he understood the laws of the music business, so he wrote the song he sang. So for the rest of his life, he got checks in the mail every month from that one little appearance. Well, I tell you, this is coming back around. I was thinking about this story recently, because it's such a funny story. I was thinking about it. And I bought this guitar magazine, this collectible guitar magazine from 1977 that I found on Reverb.com. That's not a commercial, they're not paying me, but Reverb.com is like eBay, but it's all music stuff. And I found this collectible guitar player magazine with Leo Kottke on the cover. You can probably tell from my playing here that I really love Leo Kottke. And there's an article in there, Leo Kottke, and I got the magazine. It's in really good shape for 1977. I opened it up, and it opened right to this story by Tommy Tedesco with him in a picture in a tutu playing the guitar on the Gong Show. This stuff happened. Now, the problem is I haven't figured out how to get paid from this. And I'm being serious. I used to think when I first started experiencing this, I thought, well, this means I'm going to get everything in the world I want, right? That's not it. I don't know what it means, but I know it doesn't mean that. I know it doesn't mean that. I know it doesn't mean that. Recently I was interviewing for this job I really wanted. And my wife and I, every time, we live by an open space. And like every day we looked out on the open space, we saw coyotes out there. Now, I grew up in farm country where we say coyote instead of coyote. So I still have it. Every time we went for a hike, every time we did anything, there were coyotes everywhere. And I kept saying, this means I'm going to get this job, doesn't it? This means it. I didn't get that job. So now every time we see these coyotes, I say that's lion coyotes. Anyway, recently I've come to the opinion that even if it doesn't mean you get everything you want, having this stuff, whenever it happens, and you know what I'm talking about if you've experienced this, it's like for a brief second you get to look into another world. There's like this curtain that goes up between this world and this other world, and you get a look in there just for a second, and then the curtain closes really quickly again. So, if nothing else, you get that, and it's still cool, and I'm really glad I have it. That was a really long story. This song is called Between Two Worlds. Thank you. Well, we haven't heard from this guy since the very first song. I kind of neglected this one. I love fall. I love it. I love October. I love this time of the year. This is my favorite time of the year. And especially this time when summer's fading into fall. I love it. I love it. There is one of my favorite writers is a guy named Ray Bradbury. Any Ray Bradbury friends? Okay. Ray Bradbury wrote 2 books that I have read. He probably wrote others, but he wrote 2 books that I have read about this time. One of them is called Dandelion Wine. And it's about this magical summer from his childhood, fictionalized, but when summer is fading into autumn. And it's this amazing book of all, basically short stories that are all connected. And one of the connections in it is it's a book kind of about death and making peace with death. And I guess that's part of the metaphor of summer fading into autumn. And it's a beautiful book. And as a kid, I was a really good reader, so my teachers were always teaching me, pushing me to read harder and harder books. And this was one, they pushed me to read it, and I could read it, but it was just too heavy for me to understand. And I became a book carrier instead of a book reader. I carried around this book, but I didn't really read it because I didn't really understand it. Recently, I'm kind of on this mission to find all these books that I couldn't finish reading as a kid, and I read it recently, and it's amazing, but it's not really a kid's book. The other book he wrote about this time is called The Halloween Tree, and it's more of a kid's book. And it's this amazing story. I don't know if you could write a kid's book like this today. It's this amazing story about this group of kids on Halloween, and one of their friends is really sick. And they can't find him. And everywhere they look for him, they keep seeing glimpses of him. But they can't get to him. They can never get to him. And they go out to this old spooky house. And there's this very strange guy who comes out of the house. And they're kind of scared of him, but he's pretty cool. And he says, hey, guys, I'm going to teach you what Halloween's really about. Now, you probably shouldn't say yes to that in real life, but it's fiction, right? Like this. So he takes them on this trip where they fly all over the world and they travel through time, and he teaches them about Halloween. And everywhere they go, they keep seeing glimpses of their friend, but they can never get to him. And then at the end of the journey, he says, okay, kids, time to stop playing around. Here's the deal. Your friend is dying, and he's going to die tonight unless I can make a deal with all of you. If every one of you agrees to give me 1 year of your life, I'll let him live. And I'm not joking around, I mean it. 1 year before you're supposed to die, you're going to die if you agree to this. And they all talk it over, and they agree to do it. It's like, great, cool, but I'm not joking around. You're going to see me 1 year earlier. And when you see me again, remember, I'm not scary, but I am inevitable. When you see me again, you've spent the whole night with me. You know me. I'm not bad, but you will see me again. And the kids say, well, who are you? He says, I think you know who I am. This song is called The Summer That Never Quite Ended. Whoa, something happened here. Either I got taller or slowed down. This is great to see you all here. Thank you. I know Thursday night is not the easiest night to come out. Thank you. This is really great. Is it really? Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah. Well, we're going to do another really mellow one here, if I can get the mic to work. Back to summer. The most intense time of my life that I ever had was the summer before my senior year of high school. And again, like I said, I grew up on a farm in this farm town. And I always felt like I was a real kind of an outcast there, or a misfit, or I didn't fit in or something there. I realize now it was me who made that way. It was really a great place to live. But I always felt like I got to get out of this place. I got to get out of here, man. And I wasn't very social. I didn't really make friends. I never had a girlfriend, anything like that. And when I was about 12, I discovered the guitar and discovered I could play it. And then I just became obsessed with it. And all I did was play guitar. And that's all I thought about. It's all I wanted to do. It just became my whole world. And, I must have gotten on a mailing list for music schools and stuff like that. I was going to say I must have clicked on something. Back in those days, there was nothing to click on. It's hard to... It's hard to remember that world where, everything you do isn't being logged, But somehow I got on a mailing list for Berklee School of Music, which was a place I really wanted to go to school. And so I got this mailer in the mail advertising Berklee and Santa Fe. So the Berklee School of Music, which is in Boston, decided for 1 year to do this music camp at St. John's University in Santa Fe, New Mexico. And I signed up for it. My parents paid for it. I was lucky enough they let me go, and they drove me to Denver, and I got on a Greyhound bus with my guitar and my little suitcase and went off to camp. And I didn't know, I was such a hick, I didn't know there were bathrooms on the bus. And it's a long drive from Denver to Santa Fe. And I was in pain by the time we got there. I then learned when I was able to remedy the situation. It was like there was a bathroom back there the whole time. Anyway, most things in life that you build up like this, you get there and they're not as cool as you think they are. But this camp was beyond my expectations. When I got there, it was like Harry Potter showing up at Hogwarts. Every kid there was obsessed with music, like me. Every kid there, all they wanted to do was music. And it was just amazing. And I became Mr. Social there. And I was making friends with everybody. I was talking to everybody. It was just amazing. I was like a different person there. And my guitar teacher had taught me in the Berklee kind of method and had me work in one of their books a lot. So when I got there, I knew how they thought and how they taught. So I auditioned into all the top ensembles. I was the guy. And I had never been the guy before with anything. And it was amazing. And I'm not sure about it when I think about it now. I'm not sure about it. But it seems like I even sort of had a girlfriend kind of thing happening there. I had never had a girlfriend, so I didn't exactly know how that worked. But there was this really cute girl who always was it seemed like she was wherever I was. She was always kind of there. And I think we talked a little bit, but she was just so cool. And I was like, is this what this is? Is this what it feels like when you get a girlfriend? So it was amazing. It was like a different world I was in. And one day I was in class, one of the classes I was taking there, and this lady came to the door and came in and talked to the teacher and said, I need to talk with Jeff Wahl. And he said, well, that's him right there. Jeff, why don't you go see what she has to say. So as we walked down the hall to her office, I was thinking, like, since everything is so amazing, I bet they've picked me to give me a full ride scholarship to Berkeley School. Like, that's what I was thinking. And we lived in dorms there, and I was rehearsing my humble speech to my roommates when I got back. When they found out I got the scholarship, I was like, well, it could have happened to anybody. I really appreciate all you guys' support and everything. I was really rehearsing that. It was crazy. But I thought, why not? Everything else is going so great. So I went in this lady's office, and I sat down, and she said, you need to brace yourself. I thought, okay, this is really good news. This is great. She said, like, you really need to brace yourself. Like, I'm not kidding. So I did. And she said, there's been a horrible accident. Your brother is dead. And I yelled at her. I told her she was a liar. I yelled, you're a liar, a bunch of times. When you get news like that, if anyone's ever got that, you go kind of crazy. And I went kind of crazy. But I calmed down, and I went back to my dorm. They said, you got to go back to your dorm, and someone's going to pick you up and take you home. And when I got back to my dorm, one of my roommates was there, and he had heard the grapevine, right? He said, well, I heard you got kicked out, man. Like, did they catch you with drugs or something? And like musicians, young musicians, they would have been cool with that, no judgment. And I said no, and I told him what happened, and he didn't know what to say. When you go through something like this, you kind of become radioactive to people. They don't know what to say, they don't know what to do, and you make them really uncomfortable. And so I went outside, and I was waiting to get picked up. And I remember outside there was a juniper bush. And I was picking berries off the juniper bush and crushing them in my fingers. You just do whatever, right? Just something. And this thought came to my head, and I'm not proud of this thought, but so many thoughts are going through your head. And I said out loud to no one in particular, I said, you just couldn't let me have it, could you? You couldn't let me be happy. You had to do this because you can't allow me to be happy. That's how this world works. I'm not proud of myself for having that thought, but that was my thought at the moment. I think back now, it's ridiculous, but that's where I was at when you were a teenager. So a friend of my family's was a pilot, and he flew all the way to Santa Fe to pick me up, and he flew me home. And I remember thinking in the plane, let's just keep going. Let's not go back there. I don't want to enter this new life I'm going to have now. And when I got back, I think half the town was at that airport to greet me. And if you've grown up in a city and you've never lived in a farm town, in a small farming town, when tragedy happens, the whole town converges on that family. And it was incredible. It was incredible. So there were so many people there, and then someone drove me home, and I think the other half of the town was at our house. And round the clock, people were at our house, and they didn't leave. I remember I slept a lot because I kept thinking, if I wake up, this is not going to be real, and every time I woke up, there were people there. It was amazing. And I think back on it now, and I think these were the people I thought I needed to get away from. God, I think back on it now, that town, and just how amazing they were. It really, it's something it's strange that it's like that summer never happens now. You would think I would think about it a lot, but I don't. Just recently I was thinking about it, and I remembered I went to that camp, and I hadn't thought about it in 30 years, and I didn't even remember it happened because it was so weird. It kind of got erased from my memory because everything else got so intense. Anyways, I'm really grateful to that town, and I'm sorry I didn't appreciate it when I was younger, but that was an amazing place to grow up, and I'm lucky I grew up there. This song is for that town. This is called Akron, Colorado. That got a little intense. I probably should have given you a little warning when we're jumping into those waters. Thank you for sticking with me. That was intense. Let's see what else we got. What time do we got here? Oh gosh, we're just about time. Okay, well, gosh. Let's see here. This one hasn't been played all night long. In a rare occurrence, I'm playing this one in standard tuning. Pretty much all my guitars I play in weird tunings. This one is the regular tuning. So I'm a little scared to do this song, but I'm going to do it, gosh darn it, because it's never been performed publicly. This is a song, like I said before, I used to live in Lafayette, and my wife is here. We lived together here, and we still live together. And our realtor is here who sold us the house in Lafayette. So I got to play this song. This is a song about the first house we lived in Lafayette. And it was this great house. It was peach-colored, and it had all these trees. Like it wasn't a huge house. It looked really big from the outside. It was in Old Town Lafayette. It had all these trees. It was like a little forest. And we had a whole bunch of cats. We always have a whole bunch of cats. But we had a whole bunch of cats in this house. So this is a song about our first house we had in Lafayette. And hopefully I can remember the lyrics. She and me, we live in a house on a quiet street. The neighbors know us as the people with all the cats and all the trees. She and me, we laugh together as we rake the leaves. We go for walks around the lake and shiver together in the autumn breeze. We don't have everything, but what we have is what we need. We know enough to see that this is how life's supposed to be. She and me, we brave the world of normalcy. We ride our bikes to breweries, and on the rides home, we're a little wobbly. She and me, we cuddle on the sofa and we watch TV. We stay at home and hand out candy to the trick-or-treaters on Halloween. We don't need to be stars, because we know just who we are. The ties that bind are sweet, and love is real, and life's complete. She and me, she and me, she and me. That's our tearing up on that one too, gosh. Whoa! That was good though, that was good. I don't think I've ever played that publicly before. That was great. Oh, how nice. Wonderful memories. Well, I think we're about there. Let's do maybe one more here and then we'll call it a night. This has been amazing. This has been amazing for me. Good Lord, thank you. I realized again that this was the same guitar. I just just sat down. Oh boy. The other day, I can't remember what was going on, something at the house. I was forgetting things. My wife said, I don't mean anything wrong from this, but are you okay? Like, is there something wrong with you? You're forgetting things a lot. That's the evidence of this guitar. Just setting them down and then picking them right back up again. Okay, got to do a little retuning here. Okay. Well, it's Halloween. We're very close to Halloween, my favorite season. I love it, love it. My favorite holiday. So I got a ghost story for you. Good. When I was a kid, in our house, we had a ghost. And I don't know if everyone else knew about the ghost, but I knew about it. And I lived down in the basement. And I'm sure it was just the weather and how the doors swelled. But sometimes on a dark night, one of the doors would pop open by itself. Or I think it popped open by itself. But what was really strange in our house, when I was sleeping at night, somewhat regularly, I would hear all around my bed somebody walking. Very quietly, like this. Just like that. You could barely hear it, but if you really listened, it was there. And it went on for years, and it would terrify me. It never did anything bad. It was just there. And I spent a lot of time with the covers over my head. Every once in a while, I'd get the courage and jump up out of bed and turn on the light. There was never anything there. So when I moved away to Denver then when I got out of high school. I was kind of happy to leave that behind. Until one night in my apartment in Denver, I heard. So I don't think it was the house that was haunted. But that time in Denver, that was the last time I ever heard it. That was the last time I ever experienced it. And thinking now about it, I wonder if it wasn't like checking on me. Obviously it was connected to me, whatever it was. Maybe it was checking up on me to make sure I was okay. I don't know. It never hurt me, and maybe it was some kind of protection thing. I don't know. Well, this song is dedicated to that walker in the night. This song is called Children of the Night. Happy Halloween. Thank you so much, guys, for everyone coming out. It's Thursday night. Some of you came from Denver. Some of you came from all over. Some of you came from Mead. Yeah. Thank you so much. This was really, really amazing. And I'm so happy we get to have... Well, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Well, thanks. Gosh. All right. Thank you so much. And good night. And I'm going to be hanging out here for a little while if anyone wants to say hi. Otherwise, see you later. Thanks a lot.